So there's a new story out in 538 that details the Never Trumpers and essentially their platform, the platform that they've been given by mainstream media. First, before I even get to the actual article, I think this tweet sums it up well, gives you the overview. David Walsh here tweeting out, Sanders-Warren voters make up something like 35 to 40% of the Democratic Party. The Never Trumpers, 5 to 10%. The lesson here is that elite networks trump mass mobilization. So I will get to exactly what he's talking about here. Basically, before I even read this, Never Trumpers have so much power when it comes to the media. I mean, you can't turn around without finding a new one. MSNBC, CNN have Never Trumpers on all the time. Again, these are conservatives, former Republicans, some of them, or current Republicans that are just never, they're against Trump. But at the same time, they're also Never Sanders. And these are the people that had more power during the primary in terms of getting their selection than the progressives or Democratic Socialists or Social Democrats when it came to Bernie Sanders. So even though they are a minuscule part, and most of them are still Republicans, they had more power over Democrats, over the Democratic Party in terms of supporting and pushing up Joe Biden than progressives did. But let me get to some of their data here because this is really fascinating. So Never Trumpers found a home in the media. By pure numbers, the anti-Trump conservative bloc is both fairly small and not that remarkable. The group of Republican voters who disapprove of Trump is similar but slightly smaller than Democrats who disapproved of then-President Barack Obama during his first term. Before I even go on, think about how little screen time, camera time, mainstream media time that Democrats who disapproved of Obama had. I mean, there was a moment where maybe like 6 months where Cenk Uygur had a show on MSNBC in, I think, 2011. Glenn Greenwald used to be a regular on MSNBC. There were others that were on MSNBC that had been critical of Barack Obama, but that ended fairly quickly. And meanwhile, you see Never Trumpers making up the same amount in terms of percentage, but having this massive platform. Conservatives who really hate Trump probably no longer identify as Republicans. 11% of Republicans switched their party affiliation between December 2015 and March 2017, according to Pew. But surveys suggest that the share of Democrats switching affiliation in that same period is about the same. It's hard to be precise about this. Data suggests at most 10% of American voters overall are anti-Trump but generally lean Republican. That's not nothing, but between 40 and 50% of Americans are likely to vote for Trump in November. But while this is hard to prove conclusively, anti-Trump conservatives are arguably way overrepresented in elite media. It's not hard to prove. We see it in front of our faces, at least compared to their numbers in the general population. The New York Times, for example, has 3 conservative-leaning but Trump-skeptical opinion columnists: David Brooks, Ross Douthat, Brett Stevens, and no columnists who regularly align with the president. MSNBC has programs fronted by 2 anti-Trump hosts who closely aligned with the GOP establishment, Joe Scarborough and Nicole Wallace, a former communications director for President George W. Bush, and no explicitly pro-Trump host. Now look, the whole angle of this article is about, there's a lack of pro-Trump hosts and people when it comes to, MSNBC, CNN. Yeah, obviously. But the actual analysis here should be, where are the Bernie people? Like, where are the Bernie supporters? Where are the progressives? Because they are the bigger chunk, as was discussed here by David Walsh. They are the bigger chunk when it comes to the Democratic Party. So if MSNBC and CNN are supposed to be representing the Democratic Party, or at least, let's say, to be super fair to them, if they're supposed to be representing objective reality, they should be having on progressive supporters, progressive politicians. There should be hosts like Anna Kasparian on MSNBC, but there isn't. Among the 53 Washington Post opinion writers highlighted on the paper's website, 7 people who have identified with conservatives and or the Republican Party in the past but regularly attack Trump. Just 4 are conservatives who regularly defend the president. Numerous anti-Trump conservatives are also featured prominently on CNN. So again, this is all from, I'm not going to read all this, but this is all from a very conservative perspective. in the sense that they're comparing it to where are the Trump supporters. But look, this is the issue with the media. Its perspective, regardless of, take party out of it for this comparison. Regardless of party, you have a media that represents the wealthy. That's what it is. It's a media of class. You have the people with wealth, the people that identify with massive corporations or work within massive corporations, the business leaders, those kinds of people. Those are the guests on these shows. You have, and that exists regardless of network. That exists in Fox News. That exists on CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post. That's what the mainstream media is. It is the media of the wealthy. So that's where the actual analysis needs to be here. They get all the stats right in terms of analyzing why do, this 5% of Republicans that don't support Trump, why do they have this massive platform? Yeah, they're exactly correct. But the extra layer of analysis here should be, where the hell are the Anna Kasparians or the Kyle Kalinskis or the Cenk Uygurs? Like, why aren't these people on television? Why aren't they hosting shows on MSNBC and CNN? And the answer is because these are MSNBC and CNN, like Fox News, they are representing corporate interests. They are representing the status quo, the establishment. So they're never going to they're never willing to challenge the status quo. At the most, they will have on someone like Anand Giridharadas, who is critical of concentrated wealth, is on MSNBC occasionally now, used to be on a lot more, but now occasionally he's on like Morning Joe, on Ali Velshi show, wherever. But that is as far as they will go. They will never have someone like Anand actually host a show on MSNBC. I mean, even Mehdi Hassan, who right now is, he's doing a complete 180 in terms of on Twitter, just going after people on the left. But even Mehdi Hassan, who before his complete turnaround, has been largely good in the sense that he was critical of both, Joe Biden, of Donald Trump, critical of the Democratic Party establishment and of Republicans. They won't even give him a show. And he's trying to shame left-wingers into voting for Joe Biden. So this is a media we're going to have to continue to fight against. There is no real way out of this. It's not like they're going to learn one day, oh, okay, well, to get more viewers, we got to take on this left-wing view. No, they're not going to do that, because that then is in complete contrast with their advertisers, with their own interests. So this is something where, this is why you have to support independent media. You have to subscribe, but also donate if you can. I know right now is hard. And I'm not saying to just me. I'm saying generally. Left-wing progressive media needs your support to be able to continue and be able to raise their voices and get out there. Even when it comes to YouTube, we get censored. Our stuff does not appear the same way that it used to. If you go back to 2016 era, you can do this yourself. Look at MSNBC's site or MSNBC's YouTube page. Go back to like 2015, 2016, before the election. You will see their videos barely got views. I was beating their videos in views back then when I just started. And now, thousands and thousands of views. Because YouTube, what they have done is they have now prioritized what they call authoritative news sources. What that means is corporate media. So if you're MSNBC, if you're CNN, if you're Washington Post, New York Times, that have also video channels on YouTube, they will prioritize your stuff. So if somebody goes on YouTube, isn't subscribed to anybody, and just searches Bernie Sanders, you would think maybe my stuff would come up because I covered Bernie so damn often. You think maybe you would get one Rational National video on Bernie Sanders, but no, you will not. You'll get Bernie's YouTube channel, you'll get that, but you'll then get pages and pages of MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, other official corporate news sources. But back in 2016, it was different. Or back in 2015, it was different. Where you would search up the news and you would actually get myself, you get Kyle Kalinske, you get TYT, you get Humanist Report, you get whoever. You get progressive media. But we are stuck in this situation now where the very platform we have to live on is working against us, or working against our ability to get our own message out there. So it's not even just about supporting us financially and with likes and that kind of thing, but also sharing the videos, because that is how we are able to grow an audience. Really the only way we can grow an audience at this point, because you're not going to find us through a Google search, or you're not going to find us through a YouTube search. If you're searching based on news items, you're not going to find us. So you have to share this stuff around. Share our videos. And again, not just me, progressive media in general. Get this stuff out there. People have to realize that, especially when it comes to the MSNBC or CNN or Fox News audience, where they're stuck in this one bubble of watching this one network, they have been stuck in a certain worldview for so long. And many people, I think, I know many people vote against their own interests, because they don't have the access, or they don't have the information readily available when it comes to these critiques of the Democratic Party establishment. They don't even know. They don't understand that Joe Biden has this horrible 40-year record of being on the wrong side of issues, because CNN, MSNBC haven't dived into it. So this is the only way. Media is so powerful. It was the main factor when it came to Bernie's loss against Joe Biden. Media is the only real avenue. I shouldn't say only, but media is a main driving factor when it comes to driving this interest into electoral politics, or into progressive policy, into socialism, into democratic socialism. Social democracy is even non-existent at this point on MSNBC. So sharing our stuff around, ensuring that more people actually see this work, is really how you help us grow.